peacefully demonstrate. They may lay down in a haul road, blocking traffic and blocking the movement of coal. Or in other cases, they've locked themselves to machinery, all in a peaceful, nonviolent way, in the tradition of Martin Luther King and Gandhi. That may seem a little overblown in comparison, but there really is no other comparison. This is the equivalent to the lunch counter sit-ins. It's just as urgent of a cause.
And what has happened to them?
To the activists? Well, slowly but surely, the court system has punished them further and further. You know, in the beginning of 2010, we've seen a lot of the activists go to prison. Go to jail. 3 of them spent 15 days in jail just a few weeks ago. That was Mike Rozelle, Tom Smith, and Joe Hampshire. But there's an escalation that's we have seen in the punishment of these cases. You know, first we got into the courts in March 2009, and with the persistence and the refusal to obey this criminal corporation's temporary restraining order and the, frankly, corrupt courts in West Virginia that are bought and paid for by the coal industry.
What do you mean?
Well, coal in West Virginia is a mono economy, and it basically controls and has infiltrated every level of the power structure, from the governor to the courts all the way down. And your viewers may be familiar with Don Blankenship, the CEO of Massey Energy, who basically purchased the state Supreme Court seat for Brent Benjamin several years ago. The ensuing controversy over that situation was a refusal on Benjamin's part to recuse himself from certain cases where the opposing side thought he was biased because Blankenship gave him $3 million to help him get elected to the state Supreme Court. And that's how they do it in West Virginia. They elect these judges to the Supreme Court. So when an industry has such a firm grip on the employment, on the power structure, on everything, you see it reflected, and you see it reflected in Judge Burnside's orders. This temporary restraining order that was issued against us is overbroad. It enjoins arguably the entire world. You're probably enjoined, according to Judge Burnside. Is that fair? Is that just?
Enjoined from doing what?
Enjoined from supporting the campaign, enjoined from acting in concert with us against Massey Energy. It technically could draw you into this legal action that they are putting against us.
Who are the people who are protesting mountaintop removal?
Well, this is so wonderful. The people who are protesting mountaintop removal range in age from 18 to 81. It's a broad and deep movement that includes local people who have been radicalized by the mountaintop removal operations in their backyard or in their neighborhood. It includes college students. We have a plethora of college students from places like Oberlin and Michigan and Vermont and Washington. And it includes journalists like myself who are committed to the story and committed to seeing justice. It's an incredibly strong movement that over the past almost 5 years I've really seen grow and strengthen. It's been pretty rewarding to see that.
What are your thoughts about so-called clean coal? President Obama has been pushing major initiatives to expand clean coal technology.
I'm very disappointed with that. There's no such thing as clean coal, and President Obama should know that. And this is testament to the power of the coal industry, probably the oldest and strongest lobby that we have. I've been in the halls of the Senate and Congress when the activists are lobbying, and you can it's palpable. You see local people from West Virginia walking the halls, visiting their representatives, and then you see the contrast. men in business suits with suitcases of influence.
I'm looking at a quote. You have a picture of Maria Gunno closing her security gear away after threats of violence dissipate on Keyford Mountain, July 4th, 2008. And across from it, you have her quote, "They robbed my children of their childhood. They robbed me of my motherhood. That's all I ever wanted, to be a mother and a wife. I just wanted to live in my little hollow and be left alone." And you have the quote of Massey Energy attorney Bob McCluskey, who says, "There are plenty of hollows for Ms. Gunno to look at trees if she wants."
Doesn't that just encapsulate everything about this? The callousness of the coal industry. They don't care. They don't care about the land or the people. And look what Maria Gunno has had to sacrifice. Maria was the very first person I met. I met her in the offices of the New York Independent, and when we were on 29th Street. And someone said, "Hey, Antrim, someone's here from West Virginia." I met Maria at that moment. She talked to me for like 45 minutes, and I couldn't believe what she was telling me. I said, "No, they can't be doing that. It can't be doing it. What's happening in Appalachia is unbelievable." But 3 days later, I went down and saw for myself, and that was my first reporting trip. I met all the major players, had a flyover, saw the protest at Marsh Fork Elementary, and I was hooked. And, you know, since then, I've seen Bob McCluskey in action in federal court. I saw him cross-examine Maria Gunno in federal court. And, you know, he is the epitome of the cold coal heart. And, you know, if coal is so good for West Virginia should be paved with gold. It should be the richest state in the nation. But it's the opposite. It languishes in last place in just about every category you can think of.
What is Massey Energy?
Well, Massey Energy is responsible for essentially breaking the unions, finishing them off in 1985. Their CEO, Don Blankenship, who at the time was an accountant, but rose to his present position from that point because he was instrumental in helping break the unions. Blankenship and Massey, they're Darwinian capitalists. And this is a phrase I've coined from just my research. Blankenship thinks it's the survival of the most productive. That's his goal. And it's all about production. He actually apparently receives production reports from all his mines every day to know how they're doing. So it's the cold heart of coal and capitalism that's killing. It's going to kill us. I mean, and we're tearing down our mountains for, you know, maybe 7,000 jobs in West Virginia. So there's a supreme imbalance that's a result of the mechanization of coal. The coal mining man has essentially been outmoded, replaced by draglines.
Photojournalist Antrim Caskey, director of the journalism advocacy project Appalachia Watch. If you're listening on the radio or would like to see some of our photos on our video podcast or streaming online, you can go to democracynow.org. You can also visit democracynow.org to view my recent appearances on CNN's new program, John King USA, and you can send them comment there. On Thursday, that's tomorrow, I'll be speaking in Kalamazoo at Western Michigan University's Miller Auditorium at 6 p.m. On Friday at MIT in Cambridge at 3:30 p.m. with Noam Chomsky and Arundhati Roy. On Monday at Tufts University at 6 p.m., Barnum Hall. And I'll be back in New York at Columbia University on Tuesday at the School of International and Public Affairs, giving a keynote address on the media at 1:30 p.m. You can go to our website, democracynow.org, for more details. Happy birthday to Mike Burke, and a belated happy birthday to Irma Justina Weiss. Democracy Now! Is produced by, well, the birthday boy, Mike Burke, Sharif Hodokadus, Aaron Mata, Angelique Comet, Steve Martinez, Nicole Salazar, Hani Massoud, Robbie Karen, Mike DeFilippo, Peter Curries, and Miguel Naguer, our engineers. Special thanks to Becca Staley, Nick Gilla, Hugh Grant, Samantha Chambly, Jessel Noor, John Gerberg, Vesta Godars, Julie Crosby. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for